Fernando Mendoza announced that he will forego his last year of eligibility and enter the NFL draft for what we think is going to be the number one pick in this year's draft to the Las Vegas Raiders. Let's talk about why we think this is and what Fernando means to the NFL and if this is actually going to work. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, hit that subscribe button, like this video, answer the question in the comments below. Do you think that Fernando Mendoza will be the number one overall pick in the NFL draft? And I'm going to add another question to this. Do you think that Fernando Mendoza will be a great starting quarterback in the NFL for the next 5 years? And the reason I want to ask that is because we have seen some real hits and some real misses for quarterbacks in the NFL, right? It is one of the most volatile positions in sports, and I think this was all going to be about fit. I don't think that the Raiders are a great organization. I also don't think that my Dallas Cowboys are a great organization. As a matter of fact, I think the foundations of great organizations have been shaken just in the last 2-3 weeks, with Mike Tomlin choosing to step down as head coach of Pittsburgh Steelers. Never had a losing season. Pro Football Hall of Famer. Probably not going to coach again, we think, but we'll see. Right? John Harbaugh fired as Baltimore Ravens head coach, who apparently didn't know what they had because he became the hottest name in the head coaching searches as soon as he was fired. He's now the head coach of the New York Giants. Mike McDaniel, who is a great offensive mind, and I think kind of got stuck with a bag of Tua Tagovailoa that he couldn't quite make work and wasn't given an opportunity to do what I think he should have done, which is try to put Quinn Ewers behind the controls and do the 7th round draft pick thing that his, I should say, mentor in of the sorts, Kyle Shanahan, was able to do at the 49ers. McDaniel has accepted the offense coordinator position for the Los Angeles Chargers for working for Jim Harbaugh, which I think is a good fit, but could still be a head coach, as Buffalo Bills are really looking at him. And I think it'd be fun to see what McDaniel could do with Josh Allen, but he's something of a polarizing figure within the community. You take a bigger look at this and you go, okay, who would we hire to be head coach at the Vegas Raiders that we think could help create a winning culture behind what is the most business savvy and best spokesman to enter into the NFL draft in some time? Add to that, Fernando Mendoza can become the first Heisman winner, national champion to be selected number one overall in the NFL draft since Joe Burrow in 2020. And before that, Cam Newton in 2011. Both of those guys, outstanding quarterbacks, outstanding careers. I think if you get the right guy as head coach, you might have something worthwhile to look at. So off the rip, offensive hire, right? That's probably where you're going to look. I think that there are a number of names that I could give you that might feel good when I say them out loud, but I also would like to know what Fernando thinks of this. Like, Mark Davis is at the national championship game with Raiders brass, and they're kind of saying the quiet part out loud. They want to take him. Most people think that they should. There are those that have worked in the organization or played for it. They're just not ready. Like, you're going to mess up a really good prospect and a great quarterback. But again, what are you going to do if you're the Raiders? You're not going to not select him, right? And as far as who the head coach could be, you're probably trying to find the next Ben Johnson, right? Someone that can get to know the quarterback and grow up with him as a first-year head coach and play caller is what I would want. Who fits that mold? Who would you enjoy seeing in that spot, right? I'm interested to hear your answer here. And as I kind of meander through this, I'm still kind of astounded that a guy like Fernando Mendoza could make the leap that he did in this year. Because the traits that Fernando Mendoza has displayed this season that have drawn the most attention are his charisma, his mic savvy, his ability to get to know people, remember names, all things that good CEOs and business people do. And he's been doing them for a very long time. But his play caught up to his talent and character in a hurry. And the guy that I would most comp him to in this regard is actually the starting quarterback for the Washington Commanders. I mean, we didn't see much from Jaden that would lead us to believe that he was going to be the guy that he's turned out to be when he's healthy with the Commanders. I mean, the way that I look at this is a guy that played 4 years at Arizona State, who transferred to LSU, all of a sudden turned into Superman, right? 3,900 yards or 3,800 yards passing, 1,100 yards on the ground, something like 50 total TDs. Great year. One of the great years in all of college football. I mean, had one game of more than 600 yards of offense that was phenomenal. You know, that game against Bama, we really enjoy it. I used to say, if a guy makes that kind of leap in 1 year, can you trust it? And now we're getting more evidence that you should. But he also had the right guy. And the right guy was not an offensive hire, right? It's a defensive coordinator by trade. And then you tag him with Cliff Kingsbury, who I think is a name that many people are going to go around. I don't know that Cliff Kingsbury is ready for another head coaching opportunity. But if he is, maybe you're looking at him. I'm still kind of looking around and going, do I trust it? And if I trust it, who do I expect Fernando to really want to work with? I think this is a no-brainer decision for him and for others that they're not going to second guess it. I also thought it was kind of cool that he thought his brother Alberto was going to stay and win the job in Indiana. He ends up transferring to Georgia Tech the day after the national championship game because they got Josh Hoover. But what he does in the NFL is not going to be a reflection of what he did in college. And I like to say that as much as I can because while we got those stories, right, like Lamar Jackson, right, or Joe Burrow, or even Patrick Mahomes, there are still Johnny Manziels. There are Robert Griffin IIIs. There are guys that just did not pan out in the NFL or took a long time. Like Baker Mayfield is very much a guy that needed the right person at the right time. And it showed how much he really doesn't like Kevin Stefanski. Just how bad the situation was for him, a guy that I know to be one of the more accurate and cooler dudes to play quarterback. Cooler meaning people want to play for him. They want to play with him. And his talent was on display every time he threw the football. As long as you can take care of Fernando and let him lead your organization, I think good things are going to happen. Now, it's also a match made in heaven that he would go to a team that is minority owned by Tom Brady, as that's his hero. That's his idol. That's his guy. And perhaps you talk to Tom Brady and go, okay, who would you like to see in this spot? And you come up with some names. Some of those names might be familiar. Some of those names might be retreads. And that's where I think we might have a little bit of friction. But for a dude that accomplished what no other program had done since 1894 or led them to accomplish, there's nothing less for Fernando to do. 16-0, right? That's phenomenal. Now go be the number one overall pick in the NFL draft and go to the Pirate organization as the white collar businessman that you are, who can tell you all the things you need to know about B2B sales.